Well, what's going on, everyone? Welcome, welcome to another episode of the B.A.M Media Sports Show. I am your co-host, Brandon Lockhart, aka BJ, and then we got my brother over here. I'm gonna let you take it away, Bugs.
Uh, good evening, everyone. It's your host, co-host, however you want to say it, Malcolm Buzz, also known as Maniac, as you can see, known as Five, Cinco, whatever you would love to call me. MB, uh, the names go on, but at the end of the day, as long as it's a blessing to be known,
That's it.
I'm glad that everybody is starting to recognize what we're doing here as far with the BAM Media Show. Um, I want to thank everyone who was able to check out the links that I posted of our first show, and both shows will be uploaded to YouTube as of tonight. Um, and to be honest, I'm kind of fond of how we did as far as doing our first show and being able to step out on faith, but also step into a lane I feel like is a natural lane, not only for myself but for BJ, as far as our background, our career niches, and then obviously if you know us personally,
Yeah,
it's something that is just kind of a God given skill or ability to be able to uh, get into this space as far as the podcast world, but also having a relatable opinion and
hmm
perspective concerning the game as far as football, and obviously we'll dive into other sports as well, like basketball. But also being able to relate these same concepts and these same scenarios to real life situations as well as men of God, and trying to be fishers of men as far as on our daily, everyday lifestyle. So,
hmm
Go ahead and break them down with the topics for this
Gotcha,
this episode, man.
gotcha. So tonight we want to give you guys a brief overview, introduction, both of our lives. How we kind of, got into the point where we are today, a few of our accomplishments to hit, and kind of want to talk a little bit about why we wanted to create, this podcast, why we wanted to have a platform for ourselves to be able to utilize, what God has gifted us with. And, last but not least, we got to talk about that Georgia Bama recap. I know they've been waiting on it, so we're gonna hit the Georgia Bama recap once we give the people a brief intro on who we are as men, uh, and why we decided to take this venture together. You want to go first, or you want me to kind of start it off?
I think I'd like for you to go first,
Okay.
just preference wise.
For sure, for sure. Well, I will take it away then. So, obviously, I'm Brandon Lockhart. For the people who don't know me, I'm from Opelika, Alabama. I went to Opelika High School, Opelika bred through and through. Opelika my whole entire life. So obviously, we bleed that red and black to the core. Um, Funny story. Obviously, I'm not sure how many people are connected with me and Malcolm and knew that me and Bugs grew up together um, from an early age in childhood. That brotherhood has been something that has been forged since we were kids, and obviously we grew up to go to high school together as well, and we even went to college together. I went to the University of South Alabama in 2013. Went on to get my bachelor's degree in exercise science, and followed that up by getting my master's degree in sports management. Obviously, my boy Buzz came in 2014, so I'm gonna let him tell y'all a little bit about his story and his journey himself. But I just want y'all to know we have always crossed paths. We've always been in each other's corner, and we've always been connected throughout our journey. And it was no other person who I would rather, do this podcast with than him. When you look at, his regimen, where he comes from in the game in the sports world, he gonna talk about a lot of his accolades, but he has a bright mind, a brilliant mind. He's coming from all levels of the game, from being a student at a young age of the game to being a D1 athlete to going on to being a coach. Obviously, y'all know what this show is about. I'm the fan, the football fanatic. This guy here is the minds. He's the minds behind the show. He's going to be able to provide and break down X's and O's, things that I can't understand or don't quite understand. He's going to be that mind and that voice for me. So one quick main reason on why I wanted to do this podcast, because I feel that my brother here, he was not only a student of the game, and like I just mentioned, but he also played Division I football, and for me, that is big. That is big, and he was also, now Bugs, forgive me for stealing your thunder a little bit, but I'm gonna speak on a couple of your accolades, and you can kind of hit back on them when it's your time to go and speak as well. But
I
people
got
got to
you.
know this:
I
you
got you.
started all 3 years at Opelika High School, so the boy has played football. I mean, a lot of football. And not only did he start all 3 years, he went to college and he became a captain at the University of South Alabama on that squad. Was it 2017, 2018, 2017? Which one of those years was it?
It was my junior year. I was the
Okay,
first
okay.
junior to do it.
And a lot of y'all don't know about the historical 5 jersey, but he wore that 5 jersey. And it was fitting because that's what he rocked throughout his football career. So it was good to see him catch that 5, and it was good for him to truly see him lead, on a different level than what we grew up, being a part of. Obviously, high school is high school, but seeing him truly lead a bunch of men to a common goal, and seeing that they looked up to him, seeing he inspired them, encouraged them, that lit me up. Seeing a guy that I grew up with have that impact that he had. So, man, I had to just take the opportunity, man, to be able to get on the platform with you like this, because I know that you can make a difference. You are making a difference in this game, in this life. You impacting young men to this day. You impacting me to this day. So I'm excited, man, for this journey, because I know we got something special on our hands here. So I'm gonna let you take it away there, Bugs.
All right, man. Like I said, or like BJ said, that was a great introduction of himself, but also platforming the 3 reasons or 3 main points when we talk about the introduction. Obviously, I'm Malcolm Buggs. For those that don't know, I am from Opelika, Alabama, just like Mr. Brandon said, my camera father. But uh, born 1995, on the brinks of being 30 here next year. It's a blessing to be able to see this age, especially knowing all of the different trials and tribulations that go along with just life in general, being a young black man in the United States of America. So, played football all the way from the age of 5. If you're from Opelika, we started tackling football at the age of 5, and if you overweight, you can get in at 4 years old. Uh, when we talk about Tiny Mice at Saturday Morning League at Opelika High School. Um, been a fan of the game, also lettered in other sports. As far as in high school, everybody knows my first love was basketball. Ran track, played baseball, was an exceptional talent playing baseball as well. But uh, I always had a knack for team sports just because of the cooperative skill building, the collaborative skill building, and the ultimate goal of unity and strength of purpose. That's something that's always driven me, but always, I would say, pushed me
Mm.
to my limits as far as trying to be the best that I can possibly be for those around me. Um, Went to Opelika High School, graduated in 2014 with honors. I enjoyed that experience. I ended up being recruited in football starting my junior year, right after my junior season, which was BJ's senior year in high school. We actually went to state that year, the first team ever from Opelika High School to go to state. And that's something that's monumental to me just simply because
Yes, sir.
I know for a fact there were way more talented teams.
Oh
and
man.
way more talented players to come from Opelika High School than guys in my class, but also myself. And for me to be a key leader and key component in that team as a junior, that speaks volume for the city of Opelika because I can roll off at least 30 players that I know were better than me, or better than guys that we see as
Mm-hmm.
highly touted in our era. So coming from
Yeah.
like high school, but first team to ever do that. Yes, we fell short, lost to Hoover twice that year, but to be able to break that door down for the city of Opelika was something monumental in itself. Uh, uh, Obviously got recruited. First and last offers as a high school athlete were from Power Five at the time, Power Five schools, which was Georgia Tech and Washington State.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I ended up with a total of 17 total offers. I want to say it was 16 or 17.
Okay.
Um, got recruited by a lot of different schools, recruited by a lot of different programs. I also had the opportunity to play basketball and run track at the next level, lower level. We say D3, NAIA, but I ultimately chose the opportunity to play football at the University of South Alabama in Mobile. Um, Went there for 5 years. My last 2 years, or the only 2 years that I started, had hiccups when it comes to injury. My red shirt freshman and red shirt sophomore year. My true freshman year, I started on special teams and basically just got the experience and enjoyed the experience of being a college athlete. Uh, from there, I grabbed my degree in 2018. My last season playing was actually 2018 at the University of South Alabama. Um, I was offered the opportunity to start teaching and coaching in 2019, the same year that I was actually getting ready to do pro day that spring. Ended up tearing my leg up again. I had about 3 knee surgeries total when it comes to high school. College. I only got hurt twice in high school, but when it came to college, it's just like that injury bug just continued to kind of find me and kind of,
Yeah.
derail my career to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still around the game because ultimately God wanted the game to find me. I've been coaching since 2019. Uh, I enjoy coaching. Coaching. I've coached at the 1A level in Alabama, the 5A level, and now currently coaching at the 6A level as well, and now currently coaching at the 7A level. So being able to have these different perspectives when it comes to coaching, and being able to coach on both sides of the ball has continued to evolve and elevate my mind when it comes to the game of football, but
Facts.
also just team sports in general. I coached basketball pretty much my whole high school coaching career as well. This is my first year not coaching basketball, but I work at the YMCA, so even at work, I'm still around the game. I teach at Highland Avenue Elementary School, which is I teach as a PE teacher, so I'm always promoting some form of physical fitness,
Mm-hmm.
nutrition, health, whether it's through my daily lifestyle habits as far as working out and
Mm-hmm.
taking certain supplements that I feel are necessary for top tier health, but also promoting this lifestyle in hopes to influence the next generation from a mentorship standpoint and being able to be a liaison for positive habits, positive healthy habits in our community, which
Mm-hmm.
is which is it couldn't be argued is a lost art when it comes to
Yeah.
the young black generation.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Currently, in my grad program for PE, and I think that's going to continue to elevate my mind. I have other goals as far as being certified and grabbing maybe another degree once I get my master's in physical education to continue to up my level of expertise, but also put me in positions to be able to, I would say, be a main voice of a high school program and possibly go back up to the college level, which I have been offered the opportunity to do as far as being a grad assistant or being a analyst and things of that nature. So Uh, I thank God for everything. Obviously, He's
Oh yeah.
the one who give the most credit for my life and being able to be in a multitude of area or scenarios as far as the team to build my network when it comes
Mhm.
to coaching, but also having access to college coaches and being able to promote the guys that I currently coach and kids that I have trained before and things of that nature. So
Mhm.
it's definitely something that I wanted to do as far as getting into the podcast space because there are a lot of people who are in the space, but I just think my delivery and also being able to have BJ, who has really helped me understand that you got to kind of just kick down the door with faith and understand that God has given you a natural talent and
Yeah.
be able to put that forward because a lot of people may not agree or
Mm.
sometimes not understand my perspective, but I think my perspective is fluent just because of being in a multitude of spaces in the game and also how it relates to life and how it can possibly help people become better through the game. So uh, that's one of the main reasons I wanted to start the podcast. I definitely wasn't too fond of being in front of the camera and things of that nature, but I just had to get over my own fear and
Yeah.
uh, and take that leap. So that's our introduction, and obviously, and I cap my introduction with this: the space is great because I think the knowledge is something that is a continuing progress for me. Because even in the game that I just coached last night, I learned so much in a little bit amount of time as far as just
Yeah.
being a 24-hour period.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I'm currently right now coaching running backs at Carver High School, and I love it because it's a level of ball that reminds me of when I was in high school playing. And the
Yes.
region that I'm currently competing in as a coach is the same region that I played in back as a player, as far as being one of the top regions in the state when it comes to talent.
Mhm.
Being a region and where the margin of error is so small because even the last place or even the fifth or sixth place team could very well be in the playoffs with 1 through 4. So I think that, you know, just to drop a few names of some of the guys that I played for or had the opportunity to know through the coaching world, um, Brian Vincent. Uh,
Tell where they at too right now if you know. If you know.
okay. So develop a great relationship through my recruiting process with Ted Roof and Mike Pelton. Those were the first two gentlemen to give me a full scholarship ride off of the Georgia Tech Institute of Technology in Atlanta. It was the ACC school, Power 4 school, currently Power 5 at the time. Um, Brian Vincent was my main recruiter at the University of South Alabama. Developed a great relationship. Still have a great relationship with him today. He's currently the head coach at University of Louisiana Monroe. Um, Travis Pearson, another recruiter of mine at the University of South Alabama. Currently the corners coach at Troy University. Uh, Freddie Roach, D-line coach at Alabama, was at the University of South Alabama during my first year at that institution. Chevis Jackson, the corners coach at Miami,
Yes, sir.
under Mario Cristobal. He was one of my main coaches my first year of playing college football. Colin Hisler, that was my actual at the time, and this is not to throw slights because I'm never going to throw slights at people who help make me, help mold me, help pour into me as far as my knowledge and um, my path in the game. But at the time, Coach Colin Hitchler was my uh, grad assistant, and it's a testimony to how hard work, effort, time,
Mhm.
and true dedication to a goal can really drive a person because In
Yes.
2014, he was my GA. It's 2024, and he's now the co-defensive coordinator at the University of Alabama. So people have to kind of take that for what it is and
Mhm.
understand that with God, anything is possible. For
100%.
Philippians 4:13, and that he is a vivid example of that for me.
Yeah.
Because if you are a former D1 player, you know that the GA life is not one of the most praised. It's not one of the most,
At
I
all.
would say, glorified or
Oh,
the most sought out position because of
yeah.
the work and not enough, I would say, recognition, pay, or
Mm,
even just the over overuse of them as well. Because it's
yeah.
like you're at the bottom of the totem pole when you're trying to
Mhm.
enter the college coaching game or the college coaching industry. So uh, that's just a few guys. Obviously, I can name more. Coach Mitchell, who's the corners coach at Ark State,
Mhm.
was coaching us as well at South. And obviously, we talk about Kane Womack, who's the first guy to give me my first starting job when it comes to playing on the D1 stage. He also was the youngest defensive coordinator at that time when he was at the University of South Alabama
Mhm.
uh, in D1
What
at
he
the
was like,
Division One
he was
level.
like 31, 32 at the time?
When he first came to South, he was 31 years old.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
31 years old, and his defense was on the rise then because he was actually at not northern, Southern Illinois. Is
Yeah,
it
that's
Southern
right.
Illinois?
I think it was
Oh
Southern
yeah,
Illinois.
okay,
Yeah.
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 And he was there first before he came there, and he definitely had a great impact as far
Mhm.
as on my career and also my intelligence when it comes to the game of football as well. So those are just a few guys I obviously can continue to go on because
Mhm.
when you talk about that's just my college network and my college reach as far as knowing guys and guys that recruited me and having the opportunity to learn from these guys because
Yeah.
I didn't even mention Coach Kevin Shear and
Mhm.
uh, Coach Brian Turner. We could just keep going on. B.A.M and Brian Blackman. I mean, we could just keep going on as far
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
having a stable of guys that I've had the ability to work with as far as being a player for them, but also
Mhm.
learn from as well. So
Mhm.
uh, now we're gonna top off into the um, Alabama and Georgia recap. Um, I think that was a great. I think that was a great game because it lived up to what I believe it was supposed to be as far as being a tight game. I knew for a fact that it was going to be a tight game because once if you have already seen the first show, my prediction was 3 point margin with Bama winning, and it ended up being a 7 point margin with Bama winning. So I think it was very close. However, I don't think I was the only one who was shocked to see Georgia come out so flat. I also did not expect to see Carson Beck look that uncomfortable, but also he seemed to be more. What's the word? And I don't want to throw shots, but this is just what it looks like.
What's
If you
fed
look
up?
at Carson Beck, if you look at Carson Beck in the first half and you look at him in the second half, it's two totally different things when it comes to being comfortable, when it comes to um, managing and owning the field, owning the opportunities that he
Mhm.
gets as far as pushing the football down the field
Yeah.
with his arm and actually controlling the game because of his presence in the pocket. He
Mhm.
looked a little more, I would say, sped up, but confused in the first half. I've never seen him be
Mm. You wanna know why he was
that.
confused?
I never seen him be that loose with the football. But go ahead, what you about to say about that?
Why I feel like he was confused because I feel like Kane did a good job of pre-snap, post-snap coverages. Feel like he showed him something pre-snap, he went into something else post-snap. And I feel like it took some time for Carson to get accustomed to that. Um, Truly, watching going back and dissecting that film play by play, and really listening in on some of the things I feel like he kind of made errors in. It truly wasn't all him. Some of those plays where they had to turn up, not the fumble, that's him. The interception, that's him. The first one when he threw it to Jihad, that's him. But that play where he threw that interception to the Money Jackson, that was a misstep. Arian Smith, the receiver. He technically wasn't supposed to run a slant. He was supposed to run a backdoor screen, and it probably would have worked out for a big play if he had ran the correct play. Because if you pay attention to it, the tight end is blocking on that route. He's running a slant. So he's supposed to be coming behind that tight end, whipping around because you got linemen pulling out for the blocks, and it matched up position by position. So I think Carson just came out a little slow. I don't think he expected this Bama team to be what this Bama team was, and I think Georgia kind of overlooked the coaching staff for Alabama in that first half. Now I do think Georgia made more adjustments in that second half. They executed better in that second half. That's what it all came down to, execution. Bama came out on fire. Jalen Milroe came out with a purpose. And that offensive line came out with a purpose. I think they heard us in our first episode. When we sit there and said, it's gonna come down to that matchup between that offensive line, that defensive line, and that front seven for Georgia. Bama held their own against that front seven the whole night. Jalen Milroe didn't get sacked one time. And that's something that you had to ask me prior to that game. I would have never said he didn't get sacked one time. You know what I'm saying? But I think Carson Beck came into his own in that second half. But you got to realize this too. A lot of people gonna look and say, "Why Carson Beck didn't just throw the ball deep to start the game off?" People fail to realize that second half it can be misconstrued for Georgia or Georgia fans. Yes, he threw for 400 plus yards. He balled out in that second half, but the game changed. They had 4 downs to operate on. That's not realistic in football where you got 4 downs to play. You know what I'm saying? You usually 3 and punt or 3. If you can't make a play on third down, get rid of the football, live to fight another day. They didn't have that luxury in the second half. So they literally played every single down to put points on the board. And I think Bama couldn't get off the field. They got stops on third down almost every single drive, but they could not get off the field on fourth down. I think Georgia went either 5 or 5 or 6 or 6. That kept them in the game in the second half. Just being honest. If it wasn't for that, that game could have went multiple ways. I don't think Bama truly lit up. I still think they was a little too aggressive. I think a lot of the times Jalen Milroe snapped the ball in the second half with over 20 seconds on the shot clock, on the play clock. You know what I'm saying? If you really use the time, how time management I felt like it was supposed to be used, I don't think that game ends as close as it was. I still think we were rushing some stuff. We would think we were prematuring some stuff. I think we tried to run some of the same stuff we had successes with in the first half, which is what you're supposed to do as a coach. But you got to know that Kirby and Glenn Schumann, T. Rob, they gonna make adjustments. They're not finna let you come out there and beat them for a whole 60 minutes doing the same thing. That's why you saw them change from that traditional 4-3 to that 3-3 stack. They what they call it, they disguised it, in the second half to where they didn't always show that 3-3-5 look. But they played more 3-3-5 and had more than one spy on Jay Mill for that second half. One spy was killing them in that first half. Malachi couldn't stop it. The end 11, he couldn't stop it. You know what I'm saying? So I truly just felt like, the timing came. Obviously, Kirby is Kirby. Georgia ain't laying down for nobody. I think Bama just got to do a better job of putting the dogs away, and not just saying the reference dogs for Georgia, but just putting any opponent away. If you get a big lead, you got to put your foot on their throat. you can't give them life. And I truly think we gave them a lot of life in that second half. They picked on some freshmen, Xavier Brown, but he came back and made the play of the game at the very end. But I think they went at him and Keon Sabb big time in this game. Big time. Keon is real aggressive. I don't know if people realize that, but he real aggressive. I love his play, but the freedom that we provide in this defense, that Kane provides in this defense for our players to be more athletic, to trust their first mind. I truly think that they kind of got us beat a little bit in this second half. Because if you go back, they ran the same play in the first half with Bell, the same stop and go concept, to where he ran a quick in and pumped the double move and went deep. First half, it went there. But they know that Sapp being aggressive, that next time it come, he saw it in the first half. He gonna bite on it next time. He gonna bite on it, and that's exactly what he did. He bit on it, and Dylan Bell beat him for the long shot. But that was kind of my my little spiel pretty much on Carson Beck. I still think he's a phenomenal quarterback. I think he got exposed a little bit. Do I think he's the number one quarterback in that class? Obviously, that's a conversation for another day. I can't. I don't see that right now. He's lost to Bama twice. Obviously, if you're gonna be the number one quarterback, you got to win those big games. And Bama's the only losses he's had in his starting career at Georgia. So I truly feel he's gonna bounce back from this, but this was a big learning moment for him.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I will say, the defensive adjustments for Kirby, Glenn, and Rob was a little bit easier than people think, just because of how they played their mint. Everybody knows that Kirby's a 3-4 descendant as far as playing mint front, three big bodies, having four linebackers, but being able to
That's right.
change what body type I'm using with that fourth backer could actually change the structure of how I'm going to attack you, as far as stopping the run with my six that are going to be in the box, and also how I incorporate pass drops with the different looks that I'm going to give with my DNs and my true outside backer, or my off outside backer, or my nickel, depending on which personnel I think I need to use. And you see in the second half, you can see that was done with ease because of how they call their defense. They run mint front, whether or not that fourth backer is going to be the nickel or that fourth backer is going to be a true outside backer. And depending on the people in front of them, that's exactly what it depends on. I don't think that Kirby felt that they were going to attack their edges like they did. Obviously, Michael Williams was probable in the scouting report, as far as or the injury report before the game. And I think Alabama knew that they were healthy on the edge and knew that they could possibly try to exploit that in the run game. Because if you look at the first half, that's where majority of the runs were hitting. They were hitting on the edge. They were able to get out there on the edge and get in space quickly, as far as getting quick passes behind the line of scrimmage to the receivers. And to be honest, one example for those that obviously watch the game, real football fans.
Yeah.
Kendrick Law was having what I thought was about to be his breakout game early in the game, simply because they were getting the ball to him quick on the edge and showing people that yak is going to be something that all Alabama receivers are going to continue to be known for, because you look at how aggressive and how fiery they are once they get the ball, because they all feel as if, all right, I might not touch it no more, so I got to make sure I maximize my opportunity every time. When you see when you see Emmanuel Henderson, when you see Jeremy Bernard, when you see K Law, and everybody talks about Williams, but when you know the type of talent that's in the room,
Mm-hmm.
you want to maximize your opportunity so you can obviously create more value for yourself amongst the critics and the scouts, but also create value for yourself in the coordinators and head coaches eyes as far as, all right, we can come back to this guy, we can come back to this play, we can come back to
Amen.
this set, and continue to uh, be in the rotation, because
Mm-hmm.
that's ultimately what we talk about when we're talking about these two schools, like the depth, the ability to go to an institution like these
Yeah.
two programs. You know every day that you have to put up or shut up because of the people that are in your room, because
Compete.
of the demand from your coaching staff, which are top tier in the country. And I think it just creates that level of of a superiority as far as trying to be at the top of the mountain, but
Mm,
staying at the top of the mountain.
that's it.
Um, everyone didn't even notice, but Georgia lost and only dropped to 5 because of how hard they played in the second half and how they came back and made it a game, and how they almost actually won the game because they came back and took the lead during the fourth quarter.
That's it.
So it definitely was a game that lived up to the hype.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the only thing that I would say people were shocked about or probably mad or irritated about, and obviously my wife was, as far as the start of the game, how Georgia came out 28-0. That was something that nobody ever, and nobody thought they seen coming.
Nah.
Um, even those who are fans of Kalen DeBoer and know how electric his offense was before him even coming over here,
Mm-hmm.
nobody saw 28-0
Nah.
on Kirby Smart defense. Nobody saw that. Not in this day and age.
Couldn't pay me to think that.
Nah, nobody saw that. And if you did, you're a rich man. I hope you bet on it. I hope you bet on them being up 21 in the first half. I hope you did, because you would have been a very, very rich man, because the odds of that were very slim coming into the game, because when you see how these people match up on paper.
Yeah.
One thing that I like to point out from the game is the I would say the adjustments, obviously, from Kirby Smart and his staff when it comes to offensively being more aggressive in the second half due to the situation, and
Mm-hmm.
defensively finding a way to somewhat
Keep them solid.
contain,
Yeah.
because the same way that you talked about the plays that Georgia missed in the first half is the same way we could talk about in the second half the plays that Alabama missed, as far as not capitalizing or settling for 3 instead of
Mm-hmm.
actually scoring on those drives. So
Not execute.
um,
Yeah.
we can definitely tell that they kind of took their foot off the gas a little bit, to
Innocent.
me,
Yeah.
in a sense. Obviously they made subs, but they always make subs. I didn't think they would make subs. I didn't think they would be able to make that many subs, that early in the game, just because of the magnitude of the game and who we were talking about pre-game.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
as far as everybody knowing the history of Georgia and them having a great regular season record and everything of that nature, I didn't think they were going to be able to sub as early as they did. But
Yeah.
obviously, it was a great, great atmosphere for them to be able to play in.
Mm-hmm.
I think it contributes to the depth that they want to build, because um, if you don't get a bye, you're going to play 16 games in order to win the national championship. If you
That's
get a bye, you're still going to play 15 games,
mm.
and that's a difference from 15 when you've seen some teams in the past win at 14-0, 13-0, when he coming from the bowl championship series to the 14 playoff, and now
Yeah.
being at the 12-team playoff. So it's definitely a great turnaround, but also I think great for college football when you're talking about revenue.
Oh.
It's definitely a reason why the NIL bag is up for everybody involved in college football because the revenue sharing, the media rights,
Yeah,
and the commercialism that's centered around college football, and obviously TV deals, concessions, apparel,
yeah.
paraphernalia, autographs, jersey, all these different things are
You
making
go
and
into it.
generating billions. So obviously, I love to see the young men get their money and be able to, I would say, enjoy another side of college football that I think they kind of held a little too long when it comes to all of the different lawsuits and things of that nature concerning the NCAA.
Nah,
So,
nah. If I'm a little biased on that topic, when it comes
but
in.
that is a topic
And
for another show.
yeah. We can really dive into that because I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm like old Saint Nick. When it comes to the NIL, I'm all for the NIL, but I truly think it got to be some structure and some guidelines, and some salary caps, based on that. You got guys leaving teams mid season, bro, because they not getting what they said they was gonna get prior to the season NIL. You're not even a professional yet. Should you even have the obligation to leave a school where you're supposed to be going to get your education? NIL is not the bag. The NFL is the bag. I think these guys are losing sight of that. They just trying to get to college and get their mamas out the hood. You know what I'm saying? They're just trying to get to college and sign that big check. That you losing sight of the goal. You go to college to compete, to get better, to get to the league. You know what I'm saying? To challenge yourself. It's good to get some money. I'm not knocking the guys who have great success with NIL. I just truly think everybody is not NIL worthy. Uh, Everybody is not deserving of NIL. Just because you a player on the team, I don't think you should just get NIL because you a player on the team. You have to earn that. It's called name, image, and likeness for a reason. You got to earn that by your play. If you play well, yeah, you deserve to get paid. But if you go out there and put out some nonsense, now you're getting paid, and now the world has a chance to belittle you if you don't perform correctly. Because now you technically a professional in the eyes of some fans because of we know you getting money. Back then we didn't know we knew you was getting paid, but we didn't know you was getting paid. Now we know you getting paid. So if we know you getting that check and you come out here on Saturday and don't do what you're supposed to do, people gonna want your head. You thought it was sweet before NIL when people was getting death threats and this and this and that. That NIL bagging gonna do nothing but hype that up even more. Hype it up even more. But yeah, that's a conversation for another episode. I do want to ask you this though: does Kirby Smart have a Saban problem, or does he have an Alabama problem? Now that he is 1-6
6.
against Alabama, and Georgia is what 1-10, 1-9 since 2007 against Alabama. With the only year them beating them was Nick Saban's first year at Alabama. Georgia has lost some pretty close, catastrophic, monumental, whatever you want to call it, games to the Tide since '07. So my question is, does Georgia, matter of fact, let me re-ask this, does Georgia have an Alabama problem, or does Kirby Smart have an Alabama problem? What do you think?
Well, personally, I think when you talk about the stat, is before the problem was before Kirby. I mean, 1-9. If Kirby's 1-6, they was already on a 3-game skid before Kirby. So as far as them being uh in a state of up or down on
Yeah,
Alabama, They if you talk about the last, you said since 2007, that's 17 years. If you
Mm-hmm.
talk about that in itself, it's more than just that. I think Kirby Smart is the greatest coach that Georgia's had. Um, I'm not knocking anything as far as their history. I'm
Yeah.
not knocking anything that they've done pre Kirby Smart as far as being national champion in the '80s.
Yeah.
But Kirby's going to leave a legacy there to where he's going to have a statue when he's done.
Yeah. Definitely.
He's going to have naming rights to the field, to the hedges when he's done. They're going
Mm,
to renovate the stadium. They're going to renovate the uh, multi-billion-dollar facility that they have, which is currently
mm,
one of the top facilities in college football. They
gotcha.
have their own hospital in their facility. Um, and it's top tier as far as me visiting that facility and being able to tour it. Um, he's going to continue to raise the bar there. He has great amount of support from the boosters when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to being able to fund those collectives that are being pushed in NIL and
Yeah.
fund recruiting venues and recruiting events and media events that are going to draw attraction to the program. So
Yeah.
I think he has a match made in heaven, and obviously him being a former player there, it's home for him. It's
Mm-hmm.
regardless of his 1-6 record. So I don't think Kirby pretty much has the Alabama problem. I think that was a problem pre Kirby, and I also think that if there's ever going to be a solution to it, he's the guy that's going to be able to be the guy to get it out because I don't think I don't see anybody, especially having people forget now. I think Kirby is what high 40s, low 50s. I think he's in that range. So
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
has he has at least another 15 in
That's
him
true. That's true.
as far as being a head coach, as far as getting up every day and having a purpose
Mm-hmm.
and being energetic and being intelligent and being demanding and a great motivator. He still has a good 15 years ahead of him
That's
in
true though.
order to do that at a high level.
Yeah.
You look at it, they say he retired at 72,
72.
70.
Yeah.
So that in itself tells me he might do it for another 20 years. So
He very well
I
could.
I think he's already the greatest coach Georgia's ever had, and he will be the greatest coach Georgia has ever had once
Mm-hmm.
he's done. Because who's to say what he still has left on the table?
That's true.
They're currently still recruiting at a top 5 level every year,
Baby.
number one in most cases.
Yeah.
Um, they're going to continue to develop players just because of who they have. Kirby has the mentality to reload when he loses coaches on his staff, and
Mm-hmm.
he's been able to continue to do that. So I don't think that problem. And two people, I hate this that I hate to say it like this because I'm a fan. I'm a true fan because I'm learning from these head coaches in hopes of one day that I'm a main voice in the program. As far as wanting to be DC at the high school level and wanting to be a strength conditioning coach here at the high school level and
Mm-hmm.
having the opportunity to be a head coach in another sport. I glean from coaches who do it at a high level because of their innate ability to be able to galvanize young men and get them together
Yeah.
and get them geared toward the same goal and have that
Yeah.
unity and strength of purpose, but also mold them as far as character building and morale
Mm-hmm.
building.
Yeah.
So
That's special though.
uh, I'm a big fan of him, man. But just to answer your question, I don't think he has that problem because we can talk about 1-6, and then we can talk about 44-2 or 44-1 versus everybody else.
But
So
okay, so my next question would be to that is you 44-0 against who? That's my next question. Out of them 44 games, who you done played every year that truly the East and the SEC has always been weak. We know this. We know this. Georgia always pretty much guaranteed. Now it's up for grabs
Now,
because
I would say that I would say that it has always been weak but as of maybe 5 years ago, I give them a little power just because I'm talking about the rises of teams like Missouri, the rises of teams like Tennessee. And I actually was talking with my wife the other day, and yes, I said my wife, she's a former athlete herself, but I actually was having this talk the other day about comparing the strengths of schedules.
mm,
And everybody knows Georgia has a godless schedule when you talk about them playing Tech. They have to go to Texas.
it's crazy now.
They have to go to Ole Miss,
Yeah,
and they just went to Bama, and
yeah,
they host Tennessee.
yeah, yeah.
Tennessee's currently 4.
Yes.
Alabama's 1 now. They were top 4 when Georgia played them.
Yeah.
Um, Ole Miss is going to be ranked high. They were top
I mean,
5
yeah,
or top 6 at one point,
yeah.
and and then obviously, uh, dang, did I say Bama? Oh, and obviously Texas, who's ranked 2 in this country right now, Steve
Yeah.
Sarkisian,
Yeah.
in which I think personally, I think he if 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 they can beat Georgia, I think they'll be in the SEC championship game. Texas.
Yeah, they don't.
That's just me personally.
They're not losing nobody else.
Yeah.
I think
I don't see them losing nobody else.
it's Georgia is nothing.
The resources, the staff that Sarkisian has
Personnel.
been able to build, the
Yeah.
personnel he's been able to recruit, not only through high school but also the portal.
Total, yeah.
Um, he definitely has a very, very talented team and program, but also with him at the helm, he knows what it's supposed to look like.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Winning a national championship as an offensive coordinator under Nick Saban at the University of Alabama,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
being under Pete Carroll at USC in the
Uh,
glory days, he
man.
knows exactly what it's supposed to look like
Yeah.
from West Coast version when you
All
talk about
the
USC,
profile.
all the way down to the nitty gritty trench warfare that
Getting
it
the I
takes to be
formation.
able to have
Yeah.
in a successful team in the SEC.
Mm,
So I think that Texas is definitely one of those teams.
yeah.
But comparing strength of schedule, I mean Alabama has Missouri on their schedule, who's ranked number 9. They just beat Georgia, who was ranked 2. And
Tennessee.
they have to go to Tennessee, who's ranked 4.
And we
And
gotta go
I
to
think
LSU.
they ain't got to go to LSU and Oklahoma, but I think Tennessee
That's the biggest one.
is I think Tennessee is comparable to Texas. And the reason I say this because Josh Heupel has also been building his team the last 3 to 4 years in order to be a foundational team again in the SEC because of this ability to recruit in the trenches.
Mm-hmm.
The change of his mindset because he's always been able to recruit skill guys at Tennessee,
Mm-hmm.
but getting the guys he needs in the trenches in order to establish programs has been big for them because
Yeah.
now Tennessee went to Oklahoma and won like 25 to
15.
10. Oh yeah, won a 10-point game, and they really pretty much controlled that game. It was like
The whole
25 to
game.
7,
The whole game.
25 to 0
Yeah.
in the third quarter. So
Yeah.
third or fourth quarter. So like I think this is definitely shaping up to be a great finish. With it being 5 weeks into the college football season.
No, I'm looking forward to it. Honestly, Tennessee is definitely I think our biggest game on the schedule since the Georgia game is over now. That's the next game on the schedule. Honestly, we're gonna take that personal. We don't take Tennessee lightly ever, ever. That's a rival game for us. Third Saturday in October every single year. Put them cigars up. You know what I'm saying? So I really think for some reason, man, this Bama team just feel like they got an edge. You know what I'm saying? It just feel like they still got that sour taste in their mouth from that Michigan defeat last year. And I just think the boy coming over from that loss in the national championship game, I feel like it's just something that's sitting on them boys that's real heavy. And we got a couple more games to really see what they're gonna be about. But that Georgia game was a start. It showed me that okay, I'm here to play this year. They ain't putting up. They ready to show out this year. So Tennessee gonna show us a lot. We owe them. We owe them every time we play them just because we lost to them a couple years ago. And obviously we lost in Tennessee. Great game, great atmosphere. Started off slow, came back. Couple missed calls on a few PIs that it shouldn't have been called. I think we should have won that game still. So any player that played in that game on that team, they still gonna have a sour taste in their mouth about Tennessee too. Because the last time they played in Tennessee, they lost. I know we beat them last year, but it was tough last year. Tennessee always a tough game for us. People don't fail to realize that every time we play Tennessee, even before Josh Heupel, we used to have some dog fights. Them championship years where we won them rings, Tennessee was a dog fight in a couple of them years. D. Henry, the year we won in 09. You know what I'm saying?
back all the way back to Cody.
Yeah, it's Tennessee. It's just Tennessee, bro. It's something about them rivalry games to your Tennessees, your LSU's, your Auburns, your Georgias. It's something about them. So it's gonna be something special probably happen in that game too. Hopefully on Bama side versus Tennessee. But I think Josh Heupel is a fantastic coach. He got a great scheme. He put the people in place to recruit the way they need to recruit. Build that roster the way that he need that roster built to help his team perform in the way he needs them and wants them to perform. But if you ask me, I truly feel Bama shouldn't lose to Tennessee this year due to Nico being a first-year starter. That's my take. It's not too many first-year starters that beat Bama. You know what I'm saying? We can date this back to Nick. It's a handful of them that have done it as a first-year starter, and those guys had special performances. So if Nico he's the truth, man. He can go out there and he can show out. You know what I'm saying? And that can truly be a game where we coming back like Georgia had to come back against us. It can get ugly that quick if we let it get ugly that quick. Because they gonna test our young DBs, especially 2 and especially 9. DeMonte Jackson, I feel like he gonna hold up his own. And that defense, man, that front 7, I feel like them boys gonna continue to get better. Russaw gonna get back healthy. Once he get back healthy, that's a domino that I feel like is an X factor all year long. Me personally, I don't think that boy blockable. In the run game, probably more so pass rush right now, but when he get his legs and feet back up under him, he gonna be a menace. So we're gonna have a I feel like a fantastic season. I do feel like obviously, you got Texas, you got Georgia. I'm loving Nick Saban's take. Rat poison. Texas, Georgia, SEC championship. Bama ain't nowhere. We don't want to be nowhere. We just gonna keep playing week by week, and we'll see where we land at. But yeah, keep that same Georgia Texas prediction for the SEC championship game, and we'll just see where the chips fall and see where the chips lay. But October 19th, when Georgia go to town, you best believe we might need to do a live show that game. Like a live play-by-play.
Georgia go to Tennessee?
Texas to Texas.
Texas, yeah.
On the 19th of October.
And Bama go to Tennessee that day, right?
Yes, sir. Same game. Yeah. Same week. Okay. Same week. And Miami play Louisville that week.
I'll be at work, but we'll definitely have to consider something.
We'll figure something out.
Well, man, I think this was another great episode. We will dive into more topics. Those of you all that actually tune in and check it out, The episodes will be uploaded on YouTube. Right now, they'll just be uploaded to my personal channel. Currently creating a joint channel for me and BJ, B.A.M Media Sports Show, and content. But please look for this episode to be uploaded on YouTube.com. And thank you all for tuning in with us again. And obviously, BAM Gang for life. And we want everyone to understand blessings and miracles from Blandon and Malcolm. And we thank you all for tapping in with us once again, man.
Peace out, y'all. Catch y'all next episode.
Peace.